In the last tutorial, you saw how important it was to make sure that you scale your images in Photoshop before you import them into Flash in order to make sure that you have really small SWF files. Now in this next video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a slightly different version of the picture that I have here of Baloo, and we are going to look at how important it is to save your images out of Photoshop before you bring them into Flash. So I have an image in Photoshop. I'm going to save this as a JPEG image. I'm going to save it as Baloo small underscore small dot JPEG, and I'm saving it in the folder with my Flash file. And now I want to choose File, Import, Import to Stage, and I'm going to choose that JPEG file. Now this file is a little bit larger. So what's important here is that when I have, instead of copy and paste and would have imported this image, you'll see that it comes in with a file name, baloo_small.jpg, in my library versus bitmap2. If I were to just copy and paste this image from my Photoshop document, you'll see it comes in as now bitmap5. And that's really not a very accurate file name that we want to use. Now there are other advantages of having a file that's actually in here. I'm going to delete that bitmap5. Having a file in here from an external file. One of the things that you might decide to do is alter this image afterwards. Maybe I need to crop it just a little bit more, or maybe even do some adjustments to it. Maybe hue and saturation, or brightness and contrast, maybe even curves. And I'm going to see what I can do to maybe limit a little bit of that red. There we go. Got some slightly different colors here than the original. If I were to look at my original, that's what I've changed from and to. So it looks very different. So now I'm going to save my file again. I'm going to save over the original, baloo_small, and I do want to save over it. Go back to my Flash file, and now I can right-click on that JPEG file in the library and choose Update. The nice thing about this is when I choose Update, you'll see it's updated the image with the new image. And the nice thing about that is if I had this image used anywhere else within my Flash file, it would automatically update that file as well. Now with the bitmap here, we can choose Update, but you'll see that there's no image to update with. Now that doesn't mean that we can't exchange this image for another library image, because we could go to, or another, not library, but external image. We could go to Properties, go to Import, and then we could import an image into that existing container. Now the nice thing about this is that we can, as soon as we have a bitmap in Flash, we can link it to an external file. And anytime we change that external file, we could then update that if we wanted to. It's just not quite as easy when we're dealing with images that we have copied and pasted in, and you'll see that the image name is still not correct. Now, when is copy-paste a really bad idea? That's what we'll look at in our next tutorial.